We've heard loud and clear from you that it's just getting difficult to create a really competitive game on Roblox because of cheating. So it's a focus for us.
The Roblox Corporation has acquired a company called Bifron Tech. Together, they will be combining forces to greatly expand Roblox's anti-cheat capabilities.
So I'm gonna call with Astap right now, the developer of Astap Hub, the guy that made the main script for all my videos, you know? And when he tries to play Roblox, love him well.
This just pops up, and you can make a new account or anything in always minutes.
Yeah.
So I think we're screwed. I actually think it's the end of the Roblox flooding. Yeah, that said quite why.
We broke all the exploits on Windows with the rollout of our new Hyperion technology. Of course, exploiters are going to move to other platforms. Over the next few months, we're going to roll out Hyperion on the Microsoft Store app, and we're starting to take on Android as the next big platform for this. My commitment to you is we're not going to stop until you're not thinking about exploiters at all. You're just thinking about how to build the next killer competitive game on the platform.
Creating an anti-cheat that works for Roblox was an extremely difficult task, simply because Roblox is just different. When a studio is working on developing a game, it's much easier to plan for every type of exploit that may occur. Fortnite knows you can't fly vertically in most instances, so it's easy to filter that. Valorant knows you can't walk through walls, so they can ensure that doesn't happen. But what about Roblox? This is where anti-cheats in the traditional sense start to become problematic. Roblox cannot make a traditional anti-cheat that can accommodate every single game because it has to be adaptable. Much of this problem is rooted in the way network ownership essentially has to work on Roblox. By default, everything that happens in Workspace is calculated entirely by the server, including physics. This means that an exploiter usually can't just start destroying a map. It will be destroyed, but only for them. This concept is known as filtering enabled. It was introduced many years ago and is now a requirement for all games on Roblox. While filtering enabled is a good feature, it still can't be absolutely perfect. All online games will run at a perceivable delay, and the information received is often not quite as detailed as what's on your local client. This is just how networks function, and it isn't exclusive to Roblox. You might wonder then why you can drive a car in jailbreak and it'll be fine. This is because of set network owner. When you set the network owner of something to a particular player, they now have full control over it. This means that every time you enter a vehicle, you will be promoted to the network owner of that model, and your client now controls all movements in physics. This is where the problem lies. What about the player? If you don't have network ownership of your own humanoid, then that would be an absolutely terrible experience. So network ownership of player models are automatically set to the player itself. This, in essence, makes perfect sense. The player controls the player. There's nothing wrong with that, but it raises a serious security concern. Because Roblox is so adaptable, there's essentially nothing you can't do with your own avatar. This spawned a whole subcategory of scripts known as FE scripts. FE scripts are a problem. They work by abusing the wide permissions set network ownership has. A major part of this is hats. Because hats are part of your humanoid and you have network ownership of your humanoid, congratulations! You can now make hats do whatever you want because they are yours. This isn't a reasonably solvable problem. Even if Roblox could compromise and find a way to require developers to secure the control players have over their humanoid, they couldn't reasonably implement it because it would break every existing game. This is why the switch from filtering disable to filtering enable took so long. Requiring such a major change breaks so many games across Roblox. The solution to the network ownership problem is very nuanced, but there's a solution. It's down to server-side movement validation. But Roblox isn't geared to those who want to make a full-fledged AAA game. Sure, that's a side effect, but most game developers aren't going to properly enforce their guidelines, and even then there'll always be movement cheats. This was likely a motive for Hyperion. Game developers aren't going to solve this problem, and even if they do so for casual games, it'll absolutely still be a problem for competitive games, which are becoming more common and streamlined. Roblox's only real solution to this would be find a way to handle it on their own. Hyperion is complicated, at least for normies like myself. All you need to know is that it's sort of an anti-cheat, but mostly an anti-tamper in its current state. It will crash if it detects malicious software, such as cheat engine, has a lot of runtime checks for various flags, and every section of the code is encrypted. Whenever a bit of code needs to run, it is decrypted on the fly. The problem isn't really finding a bypass. That's relatively trivial, at least to my knowledge. The meat and potatoes of the problem that Hyperion poses to cheat developers isn't that you can't inherently bypass it, it's that these cheats are historically easy to detect. Electron, for example, was around for a little while, then essentially shut down on the account that it was detected pretty much from launch. But this isn't really the main problem with cheating, as we've observed. You may think that my argument is invalidated by Krampus. If Krampus is around, did Roblox really kill cheating? Yes. At least right now. I have made scripts before, nothing at a large scale, and I didn't distribute them a whole lot. But from the context of a script developer, why would someone make and support a good script for an inaccessible product? When I was younger and wanted to buy Synapse, I'd ask my parents if I could use their PayPal account to do so. It took weeks for me to figure out a good way of doing this, and this was for a one-time $20 charge. How on earth is some kid, who at best gets cash for doing chores, supposed to spend $7 a week on a Roblox cheat. This is all to say that Roblox has made cheating essentially inaccessible. To explain accessibility, let me provide you with a story. When I was younger, I used to play a lot of Lumber Tycoon 2. It's a fun game, but I started to get bored of the grind and wanted to cheat. I found a few scripts and eventually settled on something called Blood Menu or something of that nature. Downloaded JJSploit, and it just worked. This was accessible. It wasn't stable, it wasn't amazing, but it was insanely easy. Krampus isn't that, and there isn't any sort of JJSploit nowadays. Even if there were, it would likely get detected, and you'd get your account snapped in a ban wave. Executor developers just can't be as careless as they used to be, and we'll always see an elevated price because of that. Now here's where the video switches up a bit. I don't think Roblox will be in this position forever. Roblox has put themselves in a good spot, but with Krampus proving to be effective, I think we might see a change up here. I hate mentioning the exact same cheat over and over, but Krampus is insane. It's not a solution of it's the only one that works so you can't complain. That claim might be true for the price, sure, but it isn't in the case of power. Krampus is powerful, even more so than scriptware. They've added features such as Run on Actor, which allow Krampus to do what every UWP executor could never, and to my knowledge, only Synapse could do it beforehand. It's relatively stable, fixes are pushed fast, and update times are completely reasonable. Short of the price, Krampus is essentially the same cheating experience as before Hyperion. Roblox could have a fix for this, and they've even talked about it, which is adding a kernel-level anti-cheat. I don't see this as a great step for Roblox though. If you've ever played Roblox, you probably noticed that you don't have to give it administrator privileges. This constraint of not requiring admin to play Roblox was likely very strategic to ensure as many people as possible can play Roblox games. It's possible that this could be required on a per game basis for competitive games, but it's also possible that these games lose a lot of users, particularly those on a child account without administrator credentials, or for those locked to the Windows Store version of Roblox likely for similar reasons. My prediction is that free cheats won't exist anymore, but paid ones will start to become more and more common and equally as powerful as they used to be. However, even if this is true, it's going to be a while, and I don't think it's ever going to be quite the same. Scripts won't be accessible, so less people will make them, I'd argue. But there's a claim that no one has really made, to my knowledge, and it's that there's nothing left to fall back onto. Synapse won't save you, scriptware won't either. Even the stability of Sentinel wouldn't be bad here. Krampus isn't some long-term project that we know about. It's a project that's been up for maybe a month or so. What if they slip up and cause a ban wave? What if they just exit scam? What's going to happen when Krampus falls? It's cynical, but there's no reliability here. But let's just assume that exploits mature. More devs use byte array scans to find what they need. More devs find how to make their exploits somehow undetectable. And most importantly, Roblox is put in a position where they can't just solve it. That's where we'll start to see the original pricing model of Synapse becoming a reality. It's weird to think that $8.50 a month used to be huge, and now it's $30 for an executor. That just isn't quite the same. Roblox hasn't won because they stopped cheating. They won because it's become too inaccessible for most people to care. I was about 13 years old when I first cheated on Roblox with an executor known as Starting Point. Starting Point was bad. It had hardly any development effort, ran a free API, and crashed commonly, but it just kinda worked. Every Wednesday, it'd be down until maybe Thursday or so after the weekly Roblox update, but I paid nothing for it, and it had no ads or key system. It was a text box that I could use to paste scripts in and have a good time. There's something very fascinating about this experience. Perhaps I was just naive, but it truly was simpler back then. You want some shitsploit that'll just get you through the day? Use JJSploit. Do you want to have the power to run everything possible? Use Synapse. But we need to be honest with ourselves. This was never going to last forever.